Good. Hello, 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 hello. This is Corey Thompson. Welcome aboard Game Insider.
Yeah, so terrible at this. And this
I
is the
know.
Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 370. And we're recording this on May 20th, 2025. Board Games Insider, powered by Board Game Geek. Corey, thank you again for waking up at a ridiculous hour for us. Ignacy actually is traveling. That's the only reason he's not here. And he's actually texting us from from travels. He's hysterical. But thank you for being here at this early hour. We'll talk about my location when we get down to my portion of the show. But what's going on in the world of Corey Thompson right now?
I am at the house in Santa Rosa near Napa
Nice.
Valley, and I just finished up an absolutely amazing visit from the Rose Gauntlet Foundation. So we had a whole bunch of people at the house. It was amazing food, amazing company. We played games, of course, and the Rose Gauntlet Foundation doing great things, deciding about the BIPOC Lounge at Gen Con, deciding about the big day dinner and all sorts of other charity things that Rose
That's
Gauntlet
awesome.
does.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Rose Gauntlet, of course, owned by Isaac Vega and Lindsay Rode. And I just had such a good time. I haven't spent a lot of real one-on-one time with Lindsay, and she's absolutely
Isn't
amazing.
she charming? I
Oh,
mean, you
so
mentioned like
nice.
two of my favorite industry people, Isaac Vega and Lindsay Rhoda. She is so nice, and
Such a good visit.
Isaac, he's such a cuddly bear. I want to hug him
It's
every time I see the guy. He's even more cuddly than you, Corey. I'm sorry to say.
oh,
He's
thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. Uh, Oh, I've got
Uh-oh.
noise in the background.
It
Something
might be
going
one of
on.
them.
It might be. But I got to play Rook Requiem, which is one of the new games coming from Rose Gauntlet, which is a variant of the old school trick taker Rook. And it was really fun. Had a fantastic time. And then I don't know if you knew, but Lindsay Rode went to culinary school.
No.
So in France. So we
Wow.
had the most amazing food. We bought ridiculous amounts of snooty cheeses and snooty foods, and oh man, it was
Did,
just such a good
did
visit.
did she cook something?
Oh yeah, she cooked all sorts
Oh,
of things.
oh, I would have
We
loved to have been
had
there for this.
salmon and chicken thighs and bibimbap bowls and made a lasagna. I've never seen a lasagna this size before.
Oh, nice.
We had food everywhere,
That is
but
beautiful.
we're now coming off the tail end of it, and it's great. I'm sleepy and tired and had a good time and
You
just
really
relaxing.
sound tired.
And
Sorry
then
about this.
you have to come and call me at the crack of dawn.
That's right. You know, the wheels of progress are always turning. Over here, are you done? Just make sure.
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
over here at the Podfather Gaming, you might notice, maybe you'll notice a location that you've seen in the past. If you watch the channel, I'm here at my mother's house in New Jersey. I like to make frequent visits to see her. She's not doing great, so I want to come and I want to make sure she's okay. And one of my brothers who lives local, he when I
Okay.
come, he's able to take a rest and he can leave town. So he actually went to Florida, which is kind of funny. He's out in St. Augustine, which is a great place. I love St. Augustine. It's about 4 hours from where I live, but
Tag
up
teaming
north.
brothers.
Yes, we do. My other brother from Florida and Atlanta, he'll come, for a week, every 2 to 3 months, and then I'll come for a week every 2 to 3 months, and then I have two local brothers. So we all try to take care of mom, make sure she's doing it, but she's still self-sufficient. Just things are not
Good.
as good as it used to be, as one would expect when one is 85 years old. Here doing that, of course, I have time to. She's the doctor now, so I have time to do the recording. And one of the things I wanted to mention, which I maybe I mentioned last time, but I think I'll mention it one more time before I put this to bed for a bit. My game, that I've designed with Jeff Engelstein, which is releasing at Gen Con 2026, so we still have a year and a quarter to go, is currently in artwork. It
Ooh.
and it looks so. Jeff and I, were using Jeff's amazing graphic design skills. Just basic graphic design skills to show it off to people. But now you get a real professional graphic designer and an artist separately doing all the work, and it looks so good. And we're vetting it to not criticizing the art, of course, not even criticizing the icons, but we have to make sure that everything gets back onto the sheet the way that we thought it was going to be there, and everything is going swimmingly. We're about to start blind playtesting, which is very cool, right? This is the point where you
Nice.
send it to a bunch of groups and they look at it and they hammer it and they say, well, I didn't understand this rule, right? And things like that. So you want to make sure that the rule set is as good as the game, and that's where we are right now. Besides that, I have a little bit of time. My next trip after here is out to see my brother, one of my brothers that lives near me in Florida and in Atlanta. We go out to Las Vegas to do boy things out in Vegas. We have a good time
You
gambling,
degenerate.
drinking, and just eating too much and stuff like that. Nothing too bad, but it's going to be a great time there. That's in a couple weeks after I get back. Play to Z. Just a quick mention. We have decided, due to the on again, off again tariffs, that it's a good time, because tariffs have come down to a certain level, that we can move forward with some projects. So our next three projects, Soothsayers, Twisted Trumpets, and Xenology, are all at the printer, plus a reprint of 23 Knives, which are sold out at the publisher level. You might be able to still find it in the wild, but we sold out basically in the first month or even less of putting that game on the market. It's got such great. It plays up to 8 players, a social manipulation game. Check out 23 Knives right now if you can find a copy. And now let's go to the event deck. All right, so in our always looking to be investigative reporters, and with friends of the channel sending us stuff as well. Certain friend Marion sent me this, which then got reported in other places as well. This actually came from the IndieStar.com, which is a local paper in Indianapolis, online paper at least, and they were following up on the Gen Con heist that
Yeah.
happened.
In
Was that
2023,
right?
Gen Con
Almost two.
2023, pair of individuals, Thomas Dunbar and Andrew Guillaume, uh, basically during the setup, just walked in and took a pallet of Magic the Gathering cards. It was a $300,000 heist, which of course puts it into higher levels of felony. And the police and Gen Con together have been quietly working behind the scenes, figuring it out. All of it was caught on camera. They got caught almost immediately. But now one of the two has taken a plea deal. So Dunbar took a plea deal to dismiss the felony charge, was sentenced to a lower level theft, and part of it is that he has agreed to pay $27,141 and write an apology letter
I love that.
to Gen Con.
He has to write an apology letter to the Gen Con community, and he's going to have to do 10 hours of community service in Indiana and 30 hours in New
40
York.
hours. Oh yeah, yeah, 40 hours total.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, like 40 hours in total. Interestingly, that they moved it because he lives in New York. But kudos to the police. Great work. I mean, it was just dumb criminals. Criminals are never said to be smart, but I'm very excited that
I can't believe they are game designers
it's a
and
very
they were
sad
caught on
situation.
camera taking the pallet wearing their company's shirt, wearing, so they pretty much were self-identified.
Absolutely crazy. So our next story comes off of ICV2, and this has to do with Hachette. Hachette Board Games USA, in fact, and they have announced they are raising prices on most of their catalog. As a result of tariffs, Hachette Board Games USA has raised prices on most of the products in its catalog, the company announced. The company had previously implemented small price increases on titles that were on the water when the tariffs began. The new increases, which took effect on May 15th, are much broader. Some titles will be discontinued as a result of the pricing process. And
Yeah.
this is something that we're going to see more and more and more
That's what I
of.
was saying earlier, is this talking with Lindsay and Isaac. I think everybody was kind of on the precipice waiting to do a price increase because of everything that's going on. And this is just, I think, the first snowflake falling. There's going to be a number of companies that are going to make some changes to survive all this chaos that's been going on.
Exactly, exactly. So we have a really great story regarding Mike Webb. Mike Webb has joined Wizkids as general manager. This comes off of ICV2. Well-known guy, good friend, game industry veteran, literally been around in the game industry for 25 years or something like that. And interestingly, he spent over 2 decades with the Alliance Game Distributors, which, of course, as we know,
Yep, yep.
has went into bankruptcy with Diamond and now has been bought by Universal. But they're going to need a lot less people, so Mike has left there and is now by the way, he was the vice president of marketing and customer service over at Alliance, so he's very big position there. But he's going to even have a bigger position as the general manager at WizKids. Very happy for
Yeah,
Mike that he's
Mike was
landed on his feet.
also Mike was also vice president of marketing and well, he moved to Paizo in 2021, is the in between between Alliance and where he is now over at
Right.
WizKids.
Oh, that's right, because he was at Paizo for a little bit as well. Really happy for Mike. Good guy. So congratulations on hooking up with another great company, WizKids. So we have more in the world of Diamond Comics, and that's that comic executives and others were laid off from there. The restructuring of the comics and graphic novel businesses recently acquired from Diamond Comic Distributors
Yeah.
has begun, with key executives and others laid off last Friday. This as reported on ICV2. The layoffs took place as NECA and WizKids the owner of that company is called Ad Populum, took control of the comic related businesses when the acquisition closed last week. Chris Powell, Chief Sales and Service Officer for Diamond Division's Diamond Comic Distributors, Alliance Game Distributors, Diamond Book Distributors, and others, posted on Facebook that Friday was his last day. So there's a number of people that sadly were let go, but this is not unexpected that when a company is bought like this, that there were going to be a lot of shuffles around from people that have been there for a while.
Yep, yep. I do apologize. We're on an off hour and my yard people are working outside. So every
Oh,
once in a while you hear leaf blowers coming in and out.
oh, I don't. Fortunately, I don't hear it, and hopefully, Jake can take care of that. So there's another article on ICV2 that had to do with what's it all going to look like, I guess.
Yeah,
Under
it was a nice
what?
summary article.
Yeah, you want to take some of this, Corey? ICV2.
Sure. Both ICV2 and Board Game Wire did nice summary articles about the new ownership. Um, and basically, it's things settling down into a new normal. The acquisitions of Alliance Game Distributors from Canadian distributor Universal, and of Diamond Comic Distributions and related assets by Nika and WizKids parent Ad Populum have closed. The closing this week came after a ruling of the bankruptcy court. So it's a nice summary article. There's no new information here. There's a quote: "This acquisition marks a transformative step forward in our mission to deliver exceptional service and value to retailers and publishers across North America." It comes from the Universal Distribution President and CEO, Angelo Exarchakos. Um, hopefully Alliance is gonna just Universal's just gonna take over what Alliance started, and things are gonna go great.
Yeah,
Um,
the one thing that I have yet to see is the final sale price of all of these assets, which
I've seen numbers all over the place, so I don't know what is real and what counts and things like that.
I think a little investigative journalism needs to happen if neither ICV2 nor Board Game Wire, which are bigger organizations
Well,
than us.
we have some numbers, and I mean numbers are popping up all over, but they're not clear on what is paying for
Right.
what.
Well, the
So
number,
in the Board Game Wired article, they say that Alliance Entertainment had offered 72.2 million to beat the bid from Universal and all that ad populum, and they
sure.
had offered 69.1 million. But I do not know what it was purchased for real because the value obviously went down after all the bankruptcies and everything came out.
Yeah, right. But they're mentioning these numbers, but they're not giving you the final. The total purchase price had grown to
Right, right.
85 million. So, and this was again from this other outside company called Alliance Entertainment, not at all uh, affiliated with Alliance Games, just happen to have the same similar name. So none of this is well, since that all didn't happen, what was the final price that both Universal for the game distribution and ad populum paid? Because there was two big groups of assets that were
Yeah.
split apart and different people grabbed them. I'm gonna have to in my leisure time go on to the court websites and see if I can find a number, because I find this fascinating to see where this all ended up. A very, very quick note that I'll mention. This actually came out today. Also on ICV2, it's a column that someone that writes here every once in a while is Rob Salkowitz, and he was trying to see, well, where is the comic industry, the distribution portion, going to end up? Now, this isn't gaming, so it's outside of what we
No,
normally talk
it's
about,
interesting
but
because Diamond had nearly a monopoly on the comic book distribution.
for a while.
So,
But
yeah.
that got destroyed when Marvel came in and said, "You guys aren't doing a good enough job." They took back their stuff. I believe DC came in and took back their stuff. So it had shrunk. And now Rob is saying that maybe Diamond will be a place where the indies can go to get their stuff distributed. The gist of a lot of what he's saying. We're not going to go detail on this. If you're a big comics person, check out ICV2, and it's the article is mapping a post-Diamond future. Is an indie direct channel possible? Thank you, Rob, for doing that for our fans who are also comic book enthusiasts. Final thing here, Corey, you grabbed this morning as well from Board Game Wire. Talk about
Yeah.
this for our fans.
So the Diana Jones Award is a really interesting award done once a year for innovations in board gaming, and all sorts of groups and individuals and places have won the award over the years. But it's part of a whole organization. And the Diana Jones Award Committee has just revealed the winners of the Emerging Designer program. And they are giving grants, scholarships, whatever you want to call it. They're giving money for four up and coming designers to go to Gen Con. So they're being given $6,500 and a trip to Gen Con. It's a nice cooperative effort with the organization of Gen Con. So congratulations to the winners of the Emerging Designer program. We've got Marceline Lehman, who worked in design and development for North Star, Underdog, and Asmodee's Office Dog. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. This was a previous Diana Jones winner.
Okay.
But we've got a lot of people who are going to show up at Gen Con and just have a good old time. So no, it is Marceline. Marceline Lehman, Ashraf Braden, Elliot Davis, and Lila McBeath of Fujiwara are going to receive membership in Gamma as well as the Gen Con trip.
That's really nice that again, this is the industry helping the industry again, which I love to see, right? Gamma, we point to them a lot doing things like this. This is relatively small award, though it's been going on for quite a while, and it's a very eclectic award, right? We've talked about this award every year. You could be nominated for best board game. You could be nominated for best accessory. You could be nominated for best convention or something that they want, that the award wants to highlight for that year.
Yeah,
So
the award's been going on for a very long time, but this is the Emerging Designer program, which was started in 21. So
very cool.
Yeah, Diana Jones does absolutely incredible stuff.
That is excellent. Corey, that brings us to the end of the news. We are going to go now to strategy and tactics. All right, my friend. So, this week, what do we have? Our first question. I'm trying to get it here for us. For some reason, my screen is not cooperating very much. Anyway, all right. Kevin Martin. He's at Agblade. He asked this in January of this year. We're catching up, Corey. Have you ever had the
Yeah.
experience of being underwhelmed with a game on first play through and kind of writing it off, but later giving it a second chance and completely changed your opinion? Hmm. First time trying to play Sky Tier Horde was confusing and not a great experience for me. However, after doing some extra online research, I decided to give it another chance, and now I love it. Has this happened to you? If so, which games? Game or games?
Wow.
So,
Yeah, I
Corey,
definitely, yeah, I've had this happen a few times.
yeah.
The one I really remember is I got very frustrated with a teach and playthrough of On Mars by Vital Lacerda, and I had completely written it off. It had so many interconnecting parts. The game stalled out for us, and it turns out it was just one of those outlier games. And I've played it again, and I really like it now. So it's got a lot of
Yeah,
interesting little loops.
I 100% have had this happen. I just can't think. I'll mention the one that's happened fairly recently was Flip 7, right? Which
Mm.
on first just reading the rules and just playing it real quickly with Paula to see what was going on with this thing. We're like, I don't really, what is this thing? But it was only two players we were doing it with.
Oh no, that's
Once,
bad. Yeah.
yes, once we put 5, 8, 12 players around the table playing Flip 7, it became genius fun. I
I'll tell you
love.
one that I experienced with you. I remember the first time at the gathering that you played the gang, and you did not like it. The
Again,
first playthrough, you didn't get it. It didn't make sense. You were frustrated, and
yes, 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 yes.
now I think I can say it's one of your very favorite games now.
It absolutely is. I'm not sure it's one of my favorite games, but it's certainly a great game. I love to play. I like to play with people who really truly understand poker and what, tells are and things like that because you're cooperating, but you're giving tells to try to like tell people what's going on with your hand and the board and stuff. Fantastic game. And definitely it wasn't taught well, when I first played it with you,
Sure.
and therefore now I absolutely love the game. And this has happened with many games. I just can't think of other ones at this moment. Great question. Ron Graves from Canada. He's at Buckaroo. Ron's a frequent contributor. Thank you, Ron, friend of the show. Question is about shipping issues for crowd-funded games. Recently, the second campaign for the Awakened Realms Castles of Burgundy was shipped to backers. Such a great product. There was a delay in getting the games out to Canadian backers due to a labor strike with unionized Canada Post employees late in
I remember
2024.
that. The
Yeah, I
trucking
do.
industry, really.
Yeah, which was very close to the time that the game got to the Canadian company that was contracted to ship the game to backers. Okay. There was some pushback from a few backers toward Awakened Realms to change the shipping company away from Canada Post to UPS or FedEx, which did not happen. As of today, the game is not shipped. So this is this is January 2nd,
Right.
but should soon. Hopefully, I'll have mine by the time you get to the question on the podcast. I'm sure that Ron has it right now. When crowdfunding a game, do publishers have to lock in a contract with the distribution company before they go live with the project? Do they have the ability to change anything when unforeseen issues like a labor strike stops any movement of the product from one vendor, but the product could be moved by an alternative vendor? Is the publisher even involved at that point, or is it solely in the hands of the company contracted to ship the games in that country? So let me give my perspective here.
Yeah.
The short answer is no. You don't really sign a contract like that. You negotiate a price with the fulfillment company. That could be almost anybody. It could be like PSI. We talk about them a lot. It could
Right.
be QML in Florida.
And BackerKit famously started as fulfillment company and moved into crowdfunding after.
There you go. So there's many, many, many companies that do this. And of course, there's just, well, in Canada, I guess somehow Canada Post. That's kind of weird for me. I can't discuss or address like why would
It's
Cat.
the fulfillment company used Canada Post, not the crowdfunding people.
Sure, okay, that has to be the case because there's no way that like United States Postal Service would be your fulfillment company unless you were
No,
putting
no,
them in
no.
boxes and bringing them there, right? I mean, you could do it, but then you'd
And
be doing the
the biggest
fulfillment
thing
work.
is the psychology of it. You have a huge amount of work that's already been done, and the fulfillment company now, let's say you're not 100% satisfied with the fulfillment company, but they are fulfilling. What about all this work that was already done previously? If you switch, you're starting from zero. And sometimes that's a forced issue. There's been times that a
Yep.
fulfillment company, I actually know of a couple projects where the fulfillment company went bankrupt mid-fulfillment
Oh,
and said, "Oh, we're done." And then you have to get someone else in really quick to
yeah.
find out where they are, find out where they're warehoused, and get them moved and get
Yeah.
them shipped.
So Ron and everybody out there, I think that the answer here is the fulfillment company could have changed, but it could have changed who they were shipping it through. Like you mentioned, UPX or FedEx or DHL or somebody like that. But I'm sure the rate of that fulfillment would have gone way up. Not the boxing, big deal. That's the same. The fulfillment company's portion of the price would have been the same. But if FedEx is going to charge you twice as much versus Canadian Post, you can't
Mm.
justify doing that. Um, so I'm sorry to say that it's not on Awaken Realms to make this change. They were doing it at a contracted price, meaning the price that Canadian Post would give to the fulfillment company, right? Whatever it is, 15 Canadian dollars for a given package. And they can't all of a sudden give it to FedEx, who was going to do it for 30 Canadian dollars, whatever the case may be. So that I don't put this on at all on Awakened Realms for waiting until Canada, the country, got their act together and got their postal service back in line. I do not blame Canada in this case. Not usually, but in this case. Jacob Stein, he's at Lord Stein. Is there a game that you played expecting to at least like and just bounced off
And just
100%?
bounced off at 100% on the first play.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Bounced off. Just it was not
Yeah, it's
good?
something you were expecting to really like and then just
Fell.
did not like it.
Okay.
Bounced off at 100%. Maybe played it a second time to make sure and walked away for good. Do you have a game in mind that should be released this year that you're particularly looking forward to play? There's a whole bunch of questions here. So let's go ahead and
Yeah,
a game that, I mean, this is very similar to the previous question.
it's
Is a
very
game
similar.
that was rough at first, and then all of a sudden, it took a bunch of times to get used to it. And of course, we listed a bunch of them.
You know what?
Um,
You know what a good one is here? Station Fall. I think Station Fall can be an
oh yeah,
absolutely brilliant game that is got so many convoluted, weird corner case type rules and interconnections that it could really leave a bad taste in your mouth if you like immediately sit down with 9 players. If you sit down with 4 players or something like that, or 5 or 6, something manageable, you can come across with a with a good rules explanation. Game takes like an hour almost to explain it. But that's one, and I think that the answer is sure. On second plays with a bunch of games with good rules teaching, I think you could absolutely change
yeah.
your opinion.
And do you have a game in mind that should be released this year that you're particularly looking forward to
I'm sure
play?
you do.
Oh man, there's so many, and I get to have, I'm lucky enough that a lot of times at conventions or things like that, I get to have some first looks at stuff. Um, yeah, there's a whole bunch. The Fellowship of the Ring Trick Taker was really an
Oh,
amazing one, and of course, the company has to put out uh, games for the other books, and I'm really looking forward to
very
playing
much. That
those.
that could be my number one looking forward to game.
They're
That's so
they're
good.
really amazing, and I have to throw in there also Animal Rescue Team. I
Oh
am
well, we should
really
throw that
looking
in
forward,
by Play
and I'm
2Z.
trying. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not trying to be salesman on this,
You
but
should be a salesman.
I love Matt at Matt Leacock's games, and I'm really looking forward to it. It just looks fantastic.
Very
So,
cool.
um, there's a little further on the question.
Yep.
Do you ever have gaming resolutions, goals, or stats that you try to achieve in a given year? Many people create challenges on BG Stats, the app. I love that app. I use them only to gauge how I'm doing and try not to focus my attention. For instance, an alphabet challenge where I have no end date. I'm just curious to see how long it'll take for me to play the full alphabet. I haven't directly done the challenges, the uh, 10 games, 10 times each in 10 days kind of thing, or the alphabet challenges. But I do, oh, I nerd out a little too much on the statistics on BG app. So my personal one, I really like following the H index, which is a measure of
What?
the diversity of how you play games. H
I
index is the largest number for which you can say, I have played X games X times. Like, do you have two different games you've played at least twice each? Of course you do.
Of course.
Do you have 30 different games you've played at least 30 times each?
Ooh. Maybe. I
So
see.
the highest number you can say that for is your H
Oh,
index,
oh,
and it
and
shows the broadness of how you're playing.
yeah, I don't keep stats at all of anything that I. The only stats that I keep is my beer drinking. As some people
You are a
know,
little obsessive about that.
with Untapped, that's
Yep.
my little gamified beer drinking. But no, I don't keep board game stats. I play games when I want to play games. I play games very situationally, right? I play War of the Ring because I love it, but I'm not going to play it, in
And
the next
just
couple of hours.
looking at my board game stats right now, I have logged 6,000 game plays, and my H index is 24. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. So, yeah. Sorry, Jacob, I don't have that kind of stat for you. In the games industry, he also asked, games are always coming out and often tell us what we have as options. Do you ever get a hankering for a new game with a certain vibe, mechanism, style, such as, man, I really want a quick, light area control game, and then go and see if you missed one? Or with all the games you continuously hear about and have put in front of you, does this not really happen because you are not left the time or space to feel the need? That is a very interesting question. I don't think that I don't think I do. I mean, I
Yeah,
I
I've
simply go with the flow. If somebody tells me this is a good game, I check it out. If I get a chance to play it, I'll be like, yeah, this is great. I'll take this one or something like that.
exactly. I was talking about this a little bit with some other people, and there's basically people who want everything completely prepared and want it ready, and then they just come in and use it. And there's people who manipulate what they do depending on what's in front of them. And I'm definitely the latter. So I don't spend a lot of time wishing I had this game to go for or this mechanism to go for. I spend a lot of time going, oh, this is really cool. Let's try it out.
Very, very cool. Jacob ends with, I spent a ton of time making sure these questions were well written and cohesive thoughts. Sorry for the ramble. But no, Jacob, thank you for this. But
No, they're great.
now, yeah, they were great questions. We know Jacob. He's a good friend of the show, too. Nice, really nice guy. Let's get over now to play testing. All right, Corey. So, all of us together last week, we asked a very topical question because somebody just started talking about it during the strategy and tactics segments. They asked us a question about randomness. So we went out there and we asked everybody, well, what about randomness? I mean, the question was, do you like randomness in games? How much randomness? Give us examples of games you like that have a random element. Also, give us examples of games you like that have almost no randomness at all. So, Corey, we got a decent number of replies on this. Did
Oh, they were
anything kind of strike
fantastic. They
you?
were mostly that it was all over the place, and there were some really interesting deep discussions about input randomness versus output randomness. Um, Aaron Pope at Eight and Mahdi says, I like randomness. It's a core element that brings something from a puzzle into a game, even in the Euro game space, where he leans heavily. It's oftentimes posited that there's no randomness due to perfect information. There's still randomness introduced to the game by the nature of the other players taking their turns. And that's very much where the variability, and you get this crossover between variability and randomness. He also goes on to say, in general, I prefer input randomness. I like to be in the situation of responding to the game state rather than having plans blow up by bad luck with output randomness. And I'm of this as well. I think when we introduced the question, we talked about the extreme output randomness of 1980s Talisman, where you play the
Oh,
full game,
oh,
flip the card at the end, and it says, haha, horrible black void, you lose.
yeah.
That kind of output randomness really drives me nuts.
So, yeah, I agreed with that very much. I love this answer, which probably represents my view the most. Adam C says yes, and all types. Entry randomness, for example, the cards I get in games like Ark Nova or Terraforming Mars. Outcome randomness, any Ameritrash combats. Emerging randomness, for example, Station Fall. Very emerging randomness as the entire
Yep.
game proceeds, and setup randomness. This is probably why traditional abstracts are the least interesting to me, since they rarely, if ever, have randomness, including setup. Very, very true. Thank you, Adam. And then, sort of on the other side, Fabian Klein, he says, I am more of a Euro gamer, hence by nature, not a huge fan of randomness. But I love how Gloomhaven handles randomness with their modification deck, because first, it is the right amount of influence that you can't ignore, but it rarely changes the course of the game. And second, you can modify the deck strategically between missions and tactically in a mission, which makes you more excited to use this randomness. Yeah,
Exactly. Randomness with mitigation is really,
yeah.
for me, the way to go.
And I,
Complete chaotic randomness,
yeah.
which I sometimes feel in Amerithrash heavy theme games, I tend to back away from that.
Well, I do love the chaos of certain games like Thunder Road Vendetta, but there's even some mitigation going there. But that randomness to me is so much
I have
fun.
to point out my very favorite answer to this
Okay.
is the very last one on the list. Patrick
Oh,
Zoch said this might be the only answer, and he wrote a script that randomly picked an answer.
oh my God. Is
So
that
it's Yes,
is
this is
that
a
how you do
script
it?
that randomly picks an answer via HTML. And the choices for his random answer are actually the answers on the eight-sided die inside of a magic eight ball.
Oh my God, this is so. I was
A
looking at this
brilliant
answer and
answer.
I'm like, what in God's name is he saying here? Oh my God, this is very cool. Yes, it just literally picks something. Oh, that's wild. Well, thank you everybody for your answers. This week, Corey, you did pick a new question for us. You did write a new
Me?
question. Well, yes, you are the purveyor of questions. So what did you decide to ask our audience?
So I was really curious what our audience thinks about games signed, autographed by designers. Would you pay extra for a game signed by the designer or the artist? I have a few games that are signed. Um, and sometimes it's a memento thing. I've never really done it from a collector's side.
Sure.
Sometimes I have randomly bumped into a designer while I was really into a game and I've had him sign it. Uh, the one that I really love is every once in a while, Eric Lang will sign random games, even ones that are not his.
Yeah, I've
And
heard
I found
I've
that
heard that
just
he does that,
amazing.
which is pretty funny.
So I was wondering what our listeners think about this.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I if I like the game, I just want the game, and certainly if I want it signed, I would bring it to the designer. Designers always sign for free. They're not gonna. Designers are not like movie stars. I mean, they are movie stars for us, but they're not like movie stars where like sometimes you have to get in line and get
Yeah.
and pay for the signature $5. You got to buy the picture, and they sign the picture for $25 and stuff like that.
Well,
I,
at
I I get that.
some large conventions with high name designers might have, you get a ticket or reserve a spot and you get in line to meet them, and then that's a signature place.
Right.
Um,
But they sign for free. So I
yeah,
guess the answer is if I really want a game, I'm gonna buy the game, and if it happens to have a signature on it, and I just really want the game, I'll pay extra for it. But for the most part, I just want the game, and that's cool. And I have some great signed games. I mean, I have a Richard Hamblin signed Merchant of Venus, which makes
that's
me
awesome.
so happy that I have that. Um, some people will pay more for it, some people won't. So
The funny one that I have is when Mechs versus Minions came out, which was it was kind of a surprise release that came from Riot Games, and it's a branch of League of Legends. Um, in a charity auction, I bought a copy of Mechs versus Minions that was signed by the entire Riot team, and that crosses over into the League of Legends fan base, but also into the board game fan base. I thought it was just a really cool thing to have.
very, very cool. So right now, I have already created that thread for all of you to go to the guild on Board
You're
Game
so
Geek and
good.
find the playtesting number 370 thread and answer our question to you. And in the meantime, let's get to the final scoring. Thank you so much for listening and help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts or watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather Gaming YouTube channel. If you want to be part of this podcast, you can go over to our guild, make sure you sign up, become a member, ask us questions for the strategy and tactics segment in that thread, or answer our question to you for the playtesting segment in that thread. It's easy. I know you're smart people. You can do it. Please interact with us on social media, the one of your choice. Amazingly, the handles are the same all over on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and YouTube. It's Board Games Insider, Portal Games US, Podfather Gaming, Dice Tower Dish, Play2Z Games, and Above Board TV. Follow us on the one of your choice and speak directly to us on those channels. A special call out, of course, to the YouTube channels, which is our biggest portion of what we do. It's Portal Game Studio, the Podfather of Gaming, and Above Board TV. We'd love to see you in person at an upcoming convention. Corey, RageCon, is it over? Coming
RageCon,
up.
no, coming up, end of June. It's a fantastic convention in Reno. Really nice designer turnout, prototype representation, great open gaming space. I highly recommend. I really like RageCon.
That's cool. So that's before Origins, and then you come to Origins or
I'm not
after?
gonna do Origins this
What? Wait,
year.
wait, wait. You promised me you were going to be there.
I am not gonna do Origins this year. My schedule got just way, way too full.
Dude, you
I
promised me you were going.
know.
Why am I going if you're not going to be there?
I
Wow.
don't know. It's because you didn't go to the gathering.
I'm, well, I think I had a good excuse for that.
You had a
I'm
very
seriously,
good
I'm like
excuse.
literally depressed right now. Thank you for ruining my day by
No,
telling me you're
oh
not going to
man.
Origins. Wow.
It is, yeah, RageCon is June 27th.
I'm going to be in Europe by then. But dude,
We're
I'm so
always
I'm so
somewhere.
depressed. Anyway, let me finish the show so I can go cry and over my lunch.
Oh,
Board Games Insider was professionally edited by Jake Thompson. Thank you, Jake, for being part of the team. And that great voice you hear doing the intro, the outro, the in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Corey, I'm sure you have nothing interesting to end the show with, right? Other than you're not going. Ugh, such a mean person. I can't believe you.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
serious. Oh my
Something
God.
had to go. It's too
Something
much
had.
travel. You feel it
Oh,
too. You do
RageCon
it.
is around the corner for you. It's what, 8 hour drive? Something like that.
Well, it's less. It's probably
Yeah,
3 or 4.
3 or 4 hours. That's like a local convention. That's me going up to the Dice Tower Retreat or something when I'm in.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. All right. We bring to the end episode
Uh,
370.
you've heard it here first. I killed Stephen Vanacore.
He's ruined my day and maybe my week and my
Go
month or even
sit
my
in your
year.
go sit in your
Oh,
quiet oubliette of melancholy ennui.
Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you later, everyone.